What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the SB Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm RD, flying solo tonight on this Thursday night matchup. I mean, you have Detroit, you got Green Bay. Well, Green Bay is coming to Detroit, but it's week 14. It's all on the line. Are you going to make the playoffs, or are you just not? You're dead in the water. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing there? So, yeah, we're going to take a look at some of the players you want to start from both teams. We're also going to take a look at some bets that could be made tonight, the spreads and things like that. Edits is in the house. How we doing? Cheers. Yeah, Alan still under the weather. I don't know what else he's got going on. Usually he's busy on Thursday nights and whatnot. I assume he's ready to watch this game. He's a massive Lions fan. I'm sure that he's on the ground right now, dragging his butt all around the carpet like a dog would do. He's so excited. So, but yeah, I mean, you got it for a lot of people that haven't punched their ticket to the playoffs yet. Tonight, this weekend, Monday, everything is on the frickin' line. And you have a ton of teams on bye weeks, which we'll talk about as well. It's absolutely bonkers, to be honest with you. And we can actually go ahead and talk about that real quick. Week 14, you're talking about powerhouse teams, pivotal, just important teams. You have Baltimore Ravens, Denver Broncos, Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, New England Patriots, and Washington Commanders. Yeah, I mean, the Colts and the Patriots are what they still have players that you're trotting out there, like Ramondre Stevenson. Michael Lopez is in the house. How you doing? I don't know why it does that, dude. I don't know why it does that. You know, my iPhone's right here. Alan says he can see what it says on his computer. He's got a PC too. When I have my MacBook, I can see it there. I don't know. So I hope everybody can get into the playoffs, get that dub, because that's what's important, really. You know, get in there, win it all, get that championship. You know what? I mean to look at and see what we got going on, like in my own league. Yeah, I'm sitting. I'm in third place by myself in my actual, like, our home league, if you want to call it that. Oh, let's take a look at the standings. I'm currently in third place. I'm 8-5. Got some good news. I got some bad news. Bad news is I got 4 teams behind me that are 7-6. I'm 8-5. I got 2 guys in front of me that are 9-4. I'm playing the number 2 guy this week, right? I got bye week hell. You know, I got Mixon on the bye week. I got my boss. There we go. Nice. I got my boss texting me. I was like, man, I gave him a bottle of Jack Daniels and a bottle of Coke. Like, here you go. Have fun tonight. Merry Christmas. So if I lose, here's the positive side. If I lose, I've still scored more points than every one of those people. And if they win, then we're tied, right? As long as I put up some decent points this week, I'm not going to be that terrified. So I'm playing this the second place guy in the league. Allen is in 5th place. He's got he's 7-6. He's playing the first place team. So I need the first place team to do his job. I need to me. I don't know if I need to win. I'd like to win. Let's get some momentum going, right? The 4th and 9th place guys are playing. The 6th and 10th place guys are playing. 8th and 7th are playing. So if the 8th position can knock down the 7th position a little bit more, it does help me out a little bit further, a little bit more in this league. So I'm looking forward to it. I do want to talk, about the SB Fantasy Football League. It's a listener league, tons of fun, super high scoring. I meant to go to the standings. Here we go. So with the standings in this one, I'm 7-6, but so is 4 other people. I have to win this week to get into the playoffs. There's only one team that's punched their ticket already, and everyone else, it's just kind of up for grabs. So, I say that, and then what is week 15? How many weeks do we go to? So, okay, so you have the playoffs in the 16th, it looks like, and then the championships on the 17th. Man, I wish Alan would have changed this out just a hair. But, yeah, you got to get that win to press on. Any big matchups y'all got? Any crazy? I mean, all I saw was people getting put on the IR, not getting put on the IR. Jordan Mason was supposed to be on there. He's not on there yet. Trevor Lawrence, they went ahead and shut him down for the season. He's got to get his shoulder, surgery on his shoulder, even though he got rocked. I mean, they're just like, you know what, we're done. Just take take the rest of the season off, dude, and we're going to put you on IR. And that's what they did. So, again, this is going to be a quick show tonight, just a quick stream because I do want to go in there and watch the game myself. All right. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. With these two teams, I'll be honest, I don't know anybody that I'm benching just to kind of give you a feel. Now, listen, Jared Goff, it's kind of up and down with him. It's been like that all season. He's had some big games. I need to hold on. What league is this in? Okay. Good. So Jared Goff, he's been in the teens. He's breached 20. He's breached 30. Had a 50 spot that he put on Jacksonville a couple weeks ago, but the week after that against Indy, 13.45 points. Chicago 23, another tough matchup here with Green Bay. Luckily, they're at home, but they've got Green Bay, Buffalo, and then at Chicago and San Francisco. I don't know how he's going to do, to be honest. I spoke too soon with Mason and didn't get to pick up Garindo. Oh, buddy. I mean, he's going to be RB1 for sure out there, and he's a great running back. He really is good. With Mason, it just looks rough. They haven't placed him on there yet, so it makes you think that there's a reason to that. And I just don't know. I don't know why they haven't placed him on IR. Maybe they plan on him playing. Maybe they're just going to take a week off. I'm hoping Goff goes off. Also have him in a 2 QB league. I have him in the Strikeout Beer League, right? And he's just kind of been middle of the road for me. He hasn't done great. It's just, he's had, I would say, 2-3 great weeks. I think over 30 points is a great week for a quarterback. He's hit 50, so that's a phenomenal week, right? But he also put up 13 points. He's put up 20 points. That kind of stuff it wears on me, right? So depending on your quarterback situation, I mean, you might be playing Goff tonight. I'm playing Goff in one of my leagues. I don't know what I was thinking when I picked him, when I drafted him. I was expecting them to just keep throwing the ball crazy. And this year they had a really good balanced offense, right? They got, was it Sonic and Knuckles? Is that what Jahmyr Gibbs and Dave Montgomery call themselves? And, their star receiver, obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown, their explosive receiver, Jameson Williams. Samuel Porter's been, I think, a bust at this point, to be honest with you. I don't want to call him that, but I called it at the beginning of the season. I was like, there's no way he's going to even come close to replicating the numbers that he had last year. And I was like, no, he's going to do it. No, he's not. And he isn't, right? So Amon-Ra, that guy's steady as anything, right? But here's the problem. We were building him up so high, and there's so many. They are running the ball a ton, right? And who takes in the shorts? Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's hit 20 points or more, 4 or 5 times. The last 2 weeks in Indy, 12.20. In Chicago, or home against Chicago, 12.30 points. Jacksonville, had a hell of a game. They decided to run it up against Jacksonville for some reason. 38.70 points. The week before that, 18. Week before that, 18.6. Week before that, 8.7. So he's kind of hit the mark. He's getting the targets. He gets about 7 to 8 targets a week. He's had two times a season where he's gotten above that. He had 11 targets against Jacksonville week 11. He had 18 targets against Tampa Bay in week 2. So, but you drafted the guy. You drafted him in like the first round, early second round. You're playing him, and you have to play him. It's like with Tyreek Hill the last handful of weeks, except for this past week. He did good this past week. But it's just like you drafted the guy, you got to do it. You're not going to bench him because, I mean, who's your other option that you're willing to put out there above St. Brown? I had him last year. He did great every single week. Won a championship with him on my team. Was he the reason why? No. He was definitely a hell of a contributor, though. But you got to play him. He's right now. So Goff scheduled or predicted for 22.59 points. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 16.76 fantasy points. These are PPR numbers, people. So and then they have Jahmyr Gibbs, Dave Montgomery at roughly the same, 14.96 and 14.10 respectively. Now Gibbs, slow week last week, right? 10 points, 10.4 points. He only had 9 attempts compared to double digits the week before. He's been double digits every week until then. He did catch 4 balls out of the backfield for 17. He had 87 yards. What hurt him last week, he didn't get in the end zone, right? Got in the end zone twice the week before, once the week before that. Blanked against Houston, and then 1 before, 1, 2. So he gives you 0, maybe 1, then sometimes 2. But then again, you're in the same position where you're like, okay, so am I going to start him or not? Yes, you're starting him. You are, right? You have to. There was some issues over that whiteboard post from him, but Dan Campbell's already came out and said it didn't matter when he was asked about it. And he's like, I think he talked to him and was like, hey, man, this is kind of like, hey, don't do that. But, that they're going up against a slightly tough defense, obviously, with Green Bay. What's going to happen with that? Who knows, right? But this is a guy I don't think you can bench. I don't try to hold on to where I draft these players, but where you draft them is kind of where you believe they're going to perform week in and week out. He's been good. He's been in double digits. He has not put up a single digit week yet, right? He's gone as high as 34 points in PPR formats, but last week was his lowest at 10.40. He's been at 10, 12, 14 before, and another 12 again. That was against Dallas. Those weeks suck, but it's like, well, you got to think to yourself, well, who else is out there that I'm willing to play? Who else do I want to give the ball to? Put in my RB1. And you're right. It's Thursday night. Thursday night football kicks off in like less than an hour. So it's coming down to it. Then you have Dave Montgomery. I think, for me, I put him down as to score a touchdown every single week. He's let me down about 3 times. I'm going to have him down to score a touchdown this week. Now, I think he's been a little bit more consistent because he gets you 15 points a week. Sometimes 16, 18, sometimes 12. He has hit a single-digit week once. That was against Minnesota. It was when he had 8 points. The week before that, so he had 21 attempts last week versus, Gibbs having 9. He also caught 3 balls out of the backfield for 33 or 36 yards. That's his back-to-back week catching 3 balls for 36 yards out of the backfield. The week before, though, against Indy, he only had 8 carries. But he did score a touchdown. He only had 37 yards, and he got you 16 points. So for me, it's like if I have to start, I totally get the stack, and I don't mind the stack with these two, but on certain times, you're going to get 30 points between them, right? And is that okay with you? Is that enough to win you the week for you have an RB1, RB2, score you 15 points? And I think in most leagues, yeah, I think so. I think, at least flex appeal at this point, like, having Dave Montgomery in your flex, you know he's going to fall in the end zone. He made up all his points last week, obviously with the 3 receptions, 36 yards, but he had 88 yards on the ground. 116 yards total is nothing to like, that sucks, but I feel you when you're like, okay, I'm just not getting enough out of these guys. I get it. I understand. But, yeah. What we got here? Edits, flex spot, Brian Thomas, Nick Westbrook, or Jordan Addison. If Alan was here, he'd already say Jordan Addison to cut me off. With Brian Thomas, Lawrence is out. Some of these things actually do kind of I can't trust Brian Thomas. I think he had a pretty good week last week. Hold on one second, because I do want to look at a couple of his stats. All right. Well, I typed that in wrong. Yeah, sorry about that. So Brian Thomas, last week with Mac Jones throwing to him. Well, Mac Jones came in eventually, but yeah, he still had 20 points. He had 10 targets, but was only able to reel in 4 of them. That's just the inaccuracy, from the quarterback and whatnot. But 76 yards, a touchdown. For what he puts out, and he was, I tell you what, bud, he was just lights out whenever Trevor Lawrence was in the game all season. But when Lawrence is banged up, Thomas takes in the shorts, right? And you got, who's Minnesota playing this week? They got a divisional game or no? They're playing Atlanta. So they should be able to run it up on Atlanta, to be honest. Because you have to guess, like, okay, is Addison getting the ball this week or is Jefferson? Jefferson garners so much attention that Addison, it just gets open because he's usually left in single. They're home against Atlanta. He only scored you 9.4 points last week. Chicago had 34 points. Tennessee had 17. When they play better defenses, that's when he scores more points. And with this week with Atlanta, he just might not need to run it up. Who's your other question? Was it Westbrook? Westbrook. Man, I had to pick up Tennessee. I think it was him. I think it was Nick Westbrook. I picked him up. You see what he's putting out. He's getting 8 targets. Last week he had 5 targets. Week before that he has 6. If I feel like something like, okay, here we go. I know this is going to sound badass crazy. I know Allen's going to say he's going to take Jordan, and he's going to do a start sit on Saturday night. So you'll be able to ask him directly. But if I have to pick, I'm going Nick Westbrook. That's what I want. I mean, the guy's been putting up good numbers, and Tennessee is just slinging it against bad teams. You know what I mean? When you're getting that kind of targets, but here's the thing: he's not going to score you 22 points. He's going to get you about 15. He's going to get the targets, reel in the passes. He's probably going to go like 5 for 75, but he's going to have a touchdown. Right? He scored 2 touchdowns last week. One week before that. He's only been blanked once this year against the Chargers. That was on the road. And I think that might have been when Mason was throwing to him. So if I'm going Nick, my opinion could always change, but Allen will be live Wednesday night or Saturday night, if you want to get his opinion. But I'm thinking Nick Westbrook. With Thomas, the guy's amazing. Guy's an amazing player. But Mac Jones is throwing to him. So is Mac Jones and him going to hook up a lot? I don't know. I think it's going to be Calvin Ridley revenge game. You think so? Man, Calvin Ridley. I'm glad he's had a good year. You know, he went over there, and I think the first handful of games, it was just, he put 8 points up week 1. The week 2 was his, I'm blowing up, right? 26 points, and then he went 1 point, 2 points, 0.9 points, 7. Then week 8 took off, 24, 12 back down to reality, 27, 9, 16, 6. So I don't know. He'll probably get some targets. He had 7 last week. He's only able to reel in 2 of them for 45 yards. No touchdown. He hasn't had a touchdown since week 10. You could say he's due. But I think give me the guy that's going to get in the end zone on a consistent basis with Nick. And he'll have probably 5 catches. Like I said, 5 catches, 75 yards, and a touchdown. That's who I think. That's who I would play. And I think I actually am playing him in a league because I had to go scoop up somebody, and he was available. And I was like, all right, buddy, not only you on the roster, you're in the starting lineup. But yeah. Sorry, that's just who I got. You know what I mean? That's who I think. That's who I feel is going to win. So I'm 3rd in my league with most points scored. 1 game away from the buried. They lose. I win from the buried. They lose. I win. I get a bye. Nice. And this is when listen. This time of the year, it's stressful. It kind of sucks too, especially when they're putting like 6 teams on bye week on a week 14. But yeah, you gotta get these dubs. You gotta get these dubs. Good luck. Yeah, exactly. Good luck to everyone playing. We want y'all to win. We want you to make it to the playoffs. We want you to thrive through the playoffs. Get that championship. Hoist that trophy. Do y'all have like a physical trophy, or do you play like is it money? Is it bragging rights? I play in a cousins league that they just sit there and kind of just talk S. There's no trophy. The Strikeout Beer League, I 3D printed a trophy. It's a gold Lombardi trophy, but it does have the FFL crest on it. And then obviously our home league, we do have a trophy. It's like a generic one. It's probably 14 inches tall, maybe 16 inches tall. And we got all our names. It wraps all the way around and whatnot. So I think we're going to change that to a, put that on top of another trophy here in a couple years because we're going to run out of spots. But it's that and the money and bragging rights. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll post the trophy on X or Facebook and Instagram. Make sure you follow us over there. It's SB Fantasy Football. All our links are in all our descriptions and stuff like that. Check out, keep up with the reels, alerts, and everything else. So, you have 2 other players that are your starting lineup for Detroit Lions, right? And one is Jameson Williams. Allen's one of his favorite players. He's just too reckless for me to ever start him. Like I actually had to start him in one league months ago because it's a survivor league type thing. So there's so many teams. And I was like, all right, I'll plug him in the flex. And I think it was one of those weeks where he, put up, because he was playing like Dallas or something like that, or whatever. He put up 26 points week 1, 16 points week 2, week 3, 1, week 4, 18, week 6, 17. Then, of course, this guy always gets like suspended or something like that. So he's out for a couple games. Comes back, puts up 8. Jacksonville 24, Indy 11, Chicago 9. When they play tougher teams, he doesn't thrive, right? But he can get lost in the secondary, and he's a speedster. He can make things happen. I mean, he's still getting 7 targets. The last 2 games, he got 7 targets. He reeled in 5 of them each. He just doesn't score touchdowns, right? He didn't score touchdowns in the last 2 games. He had 28 yards last week, 5 catches for 28 yards, just quick little crossing routes. It's the games where he breaks off down the sideline like he did against Jacksonville, right? He reeled in 4 targets for 124 yards and a touchdown. So, and they do utilize him in the run. He could get you -7 yards, or he can give you 20 yards. So for me, he's too volatile. I don't start him often, and especially when they go against tougher teams, like I said, tougher defenses. He's not going to perform unless it's like broken, blown coverage. Green Bay gives up big plays. I mean, if you're in a pinch, he's definitely flex appeal. He's not my starting receiver. He's not in any of my starting slots or whatever. Liz's in the house. She just came in here, so I guess she knew I was live. First year for me, I told Alan the last time I did fantasy football, Jason Witten was tight end 1. Oh, man. I feel you. Dude, he was, him and Romo, I'll tell you what, fantasy gold. Not real life championships or gold or winning, but fantasy gold. And then you have Sam Laporta. You're supposed to have a tight end 1 playing tonight. He technically is a tight end 1. He's just been so, I'm not going to say awful, but when you catch 2 balls a game, it's nothing great, right? And then he did get up to 6 catches week 8 against Tennessee. Guess what? Yeah, a blowout game, 52-14. You know what I mean? When they're blowing teams out, this is what, you get. So 6 for 48 and a touchdown. And then I think he had 3 touchdowns leading into last week against Chicago. And this is a point that I made, and someone took offense to it, because I was like, someone was like, oh, is he back or whatever? I was like, well, 15 points is nice, but that's not the way they talked about this guy and how he performed last year. It was Travis Kelce numbers, right? That's what you expect. You expect him to produce wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1 numbers, essentially. He's supposed to be in the 20s every single week. There's a reason you drafted him so high. And when he's like 0s or 4s or 5s and then, 15 points, he caught 3 balls for 6 yards. 6 yards. But he salvaged the day with 2 touchdowns. And I say salvage because that's not domination. It's 15 points. You know what I mean? He got the same amount of points a couple weeks ago against Houston when he reeled in 3 targets for 66 yards and a touchdown. So get it while you can, I guess. But, I mean, obviously you draft him high. You're going to play him. Me, I'm looking kind of elsewhere because he hasn't strung together a back-to-back productive week this season. There's been a game between or 2 games between. Could he do it against Green Bay? Maybe. Green Bay not that great against tight ends. So Thursday Night Football, I don't know what's going to happen tonight. Some Thursday Night Football games are just crazy, wild. I think we all got spoiled on Monday when the Browns took on the Denver. And that was crazy. That was fantasy legend right there. But anyway, if you drafted him high, you're going to play him anyways. If not, if someone else is on the waiver wire, like a good streaming tight end this week, I could see myself benching Laporta. I didn't draft him. I didn't believe it, and I didn't want any part of it, to be honest with you. Then you got Tim Patrick. He's over from Denver, and he's had 1 game above, 10 points. He's getting some looks. He's putting up some yards, but just the volume's not there. They just have too many mouths to feed in Denver. They really do. So there you go. That's going to be it. I mean, Wright gets some action every so often. He'll score you a touchdown. He's got 2 this year, but it's only like 1 catches. He'll have 1 catch a week, and it'll be for a touchdown. He did have 2 against Indianapolis, 2 for 24, but you could probably find fantasy points elsewhere. Steven in the house, how are we doing? I'm in a full PPR league deciding on my 2 flex spots. Options are Josh Jacobs, Pickens, Najee, McConkey. Are you starting anyone over Pickens or Jacobs? I like McConkey. I mean, yeah. I think Lad McConkey's outscored Pickens most of the season. Do I want to say most of the season? Let me see. Let's see what Lad's put up. And he's questionable. Is he going to be all right? He's remained limited in practice. So he'll need a full practice on Friday. Allen will probably be able to handle this question on Saturday night because he'll already have the practice in and things like that. But McConkey, I mean, the target machine, you know what I mean? He puts up 22 points last week, 14 week before, 18 week before that. You know, he's had a handful of games where he hasn't broke above 10 points, but 9 receptions for 117 yards. The only thing he didn't do last week was get in the end zone. He had 6 for 83 the week before that, 6 for 123 the week before that. I do like Ladd McConkey. I like Pickens as well. Now, they are playing Kansas City, so I'm kind of curious to see how that game's going to go. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. I think it could turn into a shootout if Herbert can keep up. Now, with Pickens, he only had 3 targets this last week, but he went for 74 yards and a touchdown. That was a wild-ass game. Cleveland or Pittsburgh does not score that many points on the regular, right? They just don't. They had to put up 44 to beat the Steelers, and the Steelers defense sucks. Cleveland's, they give up a ton of points to Drew, not Drew, Bo Nix, excuse me, and the Broncos. So you could see yourself in a crazy high-scoring game, and they're just bombing it out because maybe they're deep, but their defense doesn't give up a lot of points, even though they did give up 38 points to Cincy. Cincy's just different. Weeks before that, they give up 19 or they give up 24 points. That was funny when Cleveland beat Pittsburgh. It was wild. So what was the question initially? I'm sorry. But I do like Josh Jacobs. Najee's been looking good as well. He's been putting up points, but I think if I had to go between Josh Jacobs or Najee Harris, I might have to go Josh Jacobs, especially in a PPR format. But if I'm not mistaken, did Najee outscore? But that was, of course, that was a shootout. Again, they don't score that many points on the reg. Yeah, he had 24, almost 25 points. Before that, 7 points, 13 points. I got to go Josh Jacobs. But I think I am kind of stuck between McConkey over Pickens, unless it's a shootout. You know what I mean? I think Pickens might. I think you might be right on this one. I think that's a really good take, Steven. So yeah, I'll go with you. I'll say Pickens and Jacobs. How about that? Also with Lamar Jackson on a bye week, who are you picking up for QB waiver wire? Caleb Williams, Russell Wilson. Russell, then you got Wilson, Geno Smith, Rush, Matt Stafford. I like Matt Stafford. He's done okay this year. Let me see. I don't know about Geno. I don't know about Caleb Williams either. Even though he's had to sling it a little bit lately because I think they've lost 4 or 5 in a row. They've looked terrible. And they got to go against San Francisco. It's not going to be a crazy high-scoring game. San Francisco struggled this year. Caleb Williams put up 34 points against Detroit, put up 36 points against Minnesota. What are they going to do against San Francisco? They're going to be on the road again. The need, though, they damn near beat Detroit. Man. Russell Wilson, he had a hell of a game, but again, they don't usually do that kind of damage. That game right there put just him leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. I bet a lot of people picked him up. He'll get you somewhere between 20 and 30 points. They're playing Cleveland. They just played Cleveland in Cleveland 2 weeks ago. Now they're at home. He put up 20 points, 270 yards. The week before that, he was against Baltimore, put up 205 points. He's just kind of middle of the road for me. But that was a hell of a game in Cincy that they played. So I might go Caleb. I really do. And then obviously Stafford's had a couple, but he's banged up again. If there's ever a time that he's not, well, he's healthy now. But here's they're about to go up against Buffalo. They are at home, so that's plus, right? He scored 23 points last week, 25 points week before, 40 against New England. So he has been throwing it. He's got all his buddies. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's good to go. I think if I had to pick, it's going to be Stafford or Caleb Williams in this situation. I'd flip a coin and see how you feel. You know what I mean? Do you trust either one of them? Obviously Stafford's at home. If I'm not mistaken, I saw that Caleb was on the road. Let me double check that real quick. They're on the road against San Francisco. So I might go Stafford on that one. So, yeah, good luck to you. And then, like I said, these are my opinions. This is how I feel. This is what I think. And obviously, it's just Thursday. So we'll get kind of full reports, injury reports. Whoever made a full practice on a Friday, Allen should be live Saturday night. So, and I might be around. Well, no, I won't be around. It's one of my kids' birthdays, so we'll be out all night. So it might be a rough Saturday. All right, so that is Detroit. Let's take a look at Green Bay. This game starts at 7. Man, I gotta hammer these out because I gotta go. All right, Jordan Love, predicted 23.29 points. He's hit that 2 out of the last 3 weeks. 29 points last week. 20 against San Francisco. 28 against Chicago. Another slightly tough defense, but I mean Detroit's banged up. There's no doubt about it, right? Detroit is banged up. This is going to be a high-scoring game, a shootout if you want to call it that. So there's no reason in the world why I would not play Jordan Love in this situation unless you got a better option. But he's been pretty good this year. He's thrown for 2,500 yards, 20 passing TDs, and he has had some turnovers. He's got 11 interceptions. He's also rushed one in for a touchdown. So it's, for me, I'm starting him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's no way around it. And the same goes for Josh Jacobs. He's right now projected for 15.32 points. He's scored touchdowns in the last 3 games. 2 games ago, he scored 3 touchdowns, got the old hat trick. He's going to get you 23 to 30 points. I mean, he's right now 19 attempts, 26 attempts, 18 attempts. He's well into the double digits and breaching 20 attempts, and he does catch the ball out of the backfield. He caught 4 targets for 74 yards last week. Only got 1 target against San Francisco in week 12, but against Chicago week 11, he got 4 out of 5 targets for additional 58 yards. So the guy does it all. I'm so glad to see him get in the end zone too, because it was the first 5 weeks he didn't get in. You're like, what the hell's going on? Or first 4 weeks, excuse me. He finally gets in the end zone week 5, takes a couple weeks off, 2 on week 8, take a week off, and then he scored since then. So good for him. Yeah, he's an auto start, no question about it. And then you have Jayden Reed. He's one of the guys that you're like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Are we starting him, not starting him? He, if you look at his production, he started off the season pretty good. He had a couple downers, but other than that, he's hitting his projected numbers. And then falls off 2 weeks against Houston, Jacksonville, which you figured he would have thrived. Does 18 points, 6 receptions on 113 yards against Detroit, bye week. Comes back against Chicago and San Francisco, 9 and 5 points. 3 targets, 2 targets, but at least he got in the end zone and salvaged the Chicago game, but it's still only 9 points, right? Last week against Miami, 19.70, reeled in 3 targets out of 6. He had 6 targets. Reeled in 3, 24 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now against Detroit, I think it's, like I said, it's going to be a shootout. He's going to benefit from that. But you do have to look at, he's flex appeal. He's flex. He's not my wide receiver 1. He's not my wide receiver 2, possibly 2, borderline 3. But it depended on the league. Obviously a wide receiver 3/flex. I understand if you'd have apprehension against starting him. I do as well. You have Christian Watson. Every other week he does okay. He's turned it on a little bit towards the last 3 weeks. He had a stinker against San Francisco, had 3 targets, didn't reel any in, 0.40 points. Last week he had 10 points against Miami. Week before that's when he had his game of the year, right? 4 receptions, 150 yards against Chicago. I think with it being Detroit, I think, shootout, I see Jayden Reed and Christian Watson being the beneficiary of that. Now, can Wicks get in the action? Maybe. He's had 2 good games. He's reached double digits 3 times this season. None since week 7. That was the last time. That was 13 points. He's getting looks. 5 targets last week, reeled in 4 of them, but for 30 yards. His big game this year, he had 13 targets and reeled in 5. If you have a long shot, this is your long shot, right? Tucker Kraft, he's been kind of hit or miss, had some good games this year. Tight end out there in Green Bay. 13 points last week, 10 the week before, goose egg the week before that. Why does this look like that? There we go. I think if you have him on your roster, you're playing him. You want the, steady points. I'll take my 13 points or my 10 points. He has gone as high as 26. He's hit 17 as well, 18. And that's when he gets in the end zone, right? He's going to, 1 week he had 6 receptions on 9 targets, 53 yards and a touchdown. He's gone as high as 88 yards this season. That was a 2 touchdown week against the Rams. So, do I feel good about starting him? Yeah. He's solid tight end. Am I more apprehensive with Wicks? Yeah. I like Watson and Reed in this situation. I think Jacobs is going to get a lot of action. And how do I feel about the game tonight? Well, we're going to talk about that too, because real quick. And so that's my matchup. Any other sit questions, things like that, you can submit them to us on social media or any of our videos, our reels, and we might actually make a reel talking about your question. Again, we didn't do a live stream last night. Alan was under the weather. He'll be live doing his Sunday night stream Saturday. All right, so let's actually just take a look. Let me double check something real quick. I want to see what time this game's getting going. 7:15. Okay, good. So we got 20 minutes. We can slow down. We can relax. Take a deep breath. Get ready for some action, which I need to actually set some lineups as well. So I am going to get out of here about 10 minutes beforehand. So tonight, Lions are a 3-point favorite. I need to move this back over here. Lions are a 3-point favorite. Minus 170 on the money line. Obviously, Packers are getting 3. Even on that. So get some good payouts. Sorry, I'm messing with my monitor there. Plus 145. The over-under set at 53. Obviously, you know that they expect this to be kind of a shootout. I don't know if I'm messing with the over-under. Maybe I'll see how the first quarter goes, and then obviously it'll probably get out of control. I expect them to hit the over. I'm going to keep picking Detroit to win until they lose. They've lost once this year. I can't do anything about it. I just got to pick them. Do I think Green Bay, I mean, I would move the points a little bit. I think if you take 3 or take plus 3.5, I think you're going to be in a hell of a lot better boat than just taking 3. This might come down to a field goal. Seriously. I mean, Detroit's had some problems here recently, and their defense is banged up. Green Bay, kind of the same issue. They're kind of banged up, but they're not winning either. Hold on, I'm going to pull up the last couple games. So they barely beat the Bears. That was a fun game to watch on Thanksgiving. They barely beat them 23-20. Now, they took care of business with the Colts. There was 2 possessions in the red zone for the Colts where I think they actually scored touchdowns. They pulled them back, and then they ended up kicking field goals or whatever. So the game should have been a little bit closer, but either way, they took care of the Colts. Colts suck. They just blistered the Jaguars, 52-6. Jaguars suck. They're not good. Texans was a close game. When they play good teams, it's a little bit closer. Packers played them at home, or they hosted the Lions back on November 3rd. So you've kind of already seen this. I think, is that when, I think that's when, what's his name got hurt? Jordan Love. I think he was banged up. He still threw for 273 yards. He had an interception, didn't throw a touchdown. That was kind of the problem there. Detroit didn't score. It was a slow-moving game, too. The first quarter, Green Bay goes up. They were up 3-0 in the first quarter. And then Lions put up 17 points in the second, 7 in the third. Green Bay counters with another field goal, and then they obviously scored their touchdown in the fourth. Went for a 2-point conversion, made it 24-10. But I think, that was when Love was banged up. I think it's a different game tonight. I think it's definitely Vegas knows, and they've got the Packers within 3. I think I'm buying that half point. I'm taking the money line for the Lions because, like I said, I'm going to keep betting on them until it's over, until I'm done. But I think I'm going to take the Packers plus 3.5. That's about as high as I'm willing to go because I don't want it to screw with any other money there. So, but yeah. That's what I've got so far for this week. You make your picks. That locks in. Thank you very much. I'm going to make my picks. All right. That's going to do it for tonight. I appreciate everybody popping in. If you're over there on X, thank you so much for watching. I know you don't talk a lot. I know you just watch. I like to watch in the corner. I appreciate that. Appreciate the regulars coming in here. Michael Lopez, Lizzie Bingham, Stephen Grise, good to see you. Edits, thank you so much for being here. Best of luck for y'all this week. Get that dub, and we'll talk to you Saturday night, okay? Y'all have a wonderful night. I don't know why I'm stuttering. I don't know why I'm nervous, but I'm about to go plop my butt on the couch, watch some football, eat some pasta, and enjoy my Thursday night, and I hope you do the same. I'm RD. I'm out of here. Adios.